Alright guys, welcome back, new season. Now a few players have left, but we're promoting from within, no one new's come in, so you should all be gelling with each other nicely. I'm expecting no issues in the group stage of the Champions League, even with Tafia. We've got to respect them, because they beat Auckland City a few years ago in the group stages, but I think we're better than them. Let's just make sure we win this group and avoid Western Suburbs until hopefully the semi. Let's get it, boys. Another Champions League trophy. Hello everyone and welcome to episode number 118 of the New Zealand Builder Nation here on Shaun Does FM with both the All Whites and Cashmere Technical. I hope you're doing well, and coming up today we start off 2036 in the save with the group stages of the OFC Champions League at Cashmere Tech. So if you're looking forward to that as well as a couple of outgoing transfers, then do remember to go down below, leave a thumbs up on the video, and if you haven't done so already and are enjoying the series here on the channel, also make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn that notification bell on as well. It is greatly appreciated. At the end of last week, took on Western Suburbs in the New Zealand National League Grand Final, so if you missed that one as well as the end of season review, I'll leave a link to it over in the top right corner. Since then, we have done some transfers before the start of the new season, so we'll run through those before revealing who else is in our group at this OFC Champions League. As per usual, we're in Group A, so not much of a pre-season. 2 games up there, you can see 4 goals we've scored against both the Turtles and under-20s. Some of our backup teams here at Cashmere Tech, but to be fair, we shouldn't take too long here on the transfers considering most of them are out. That is the reason we've now got 40k in our transfer budget and $7.5 grand a week that we could use on wages. But to be fair, I haven't found any players who might improve the squad that we can sign for that money, so I haven't done too much. But let's just get rid there of that top bit, and now we can see what's gone on since the end of last week. To be fair, those transfers that came through at the start of this year were all youth intake players, so not much to talk about there. And also a quick look at the players who did leave us on a free at the end of last season. Now I have clicked on the right tab, and the big one in terms of the first team was Xavier Smith. He got picked up quite early, and that was by Wrexham. So Xavier Smith these days, our former starting left back, is at Wrexham, but as I said late last week, even though it says he's Australian, he could actually be called up for the All Whites. Did stay long enough here at Cashmere Tech for that to be a possibility. But in terms of the players who were in the first team last season and we got rid of for a fee, here they are. And to be fair, only 2 players did leave the club. First up, Josh Hawkins, of course, these days only our backup goalkeeper, off the back of us signing David Cifuentes, the Spaniard who is formerly of Arsenal, but he's quite a promising goalkeeper in the national pool. Being a backup, not going to be too useful for his development. So Josh Hawkins, he went to South Melbourne. Unfortunately, AFC Auckland never put a bid in. He went there for £8,000, rising 10,000. Value is a lot higher than that these days, but I think that's just the case with us being in such a low reputation league. So Josh Hawkins is over there at South Melbourne, and those guys these days are in the A-League. 7 appearances so far, conceded quite a few goals, but also does have 1 man of the match. So maybe South Melbourne just not that good in the A-League. While we're actually on the topic, let's have a look at what the table does look like. The Phoenix have been one of the more dominant teams in that league over the last couple of years, but this year it's all about the Melbourne Victory. South Melbourne, they are looking quite a bit of trouble. Josh Hawkins might be down in the second tier next season, and to be fair, AFC Auckland might be going down as well because they currently find themselves in one of the relegation playoff spots. That's what's been going on over in the A-League. And a quick look at the last couple of winners. The Phoenix, as I said, have been thereabouts ever since we departed AFC Auckland at the end of the 2028-29 season. But back to transfers, Josh Hawkins went to South Melbourne. The other player that we did get rid of in our reserves was Henrik Fries. He these days, just like Xavier Smith, is eligible for the All Whites. He's gone back to Denmark to play for AB. High potential player, and he is over there as an important one. So hopefully he'll get more game time over there. And then we've got here at Cashmere Tech, he's behind both CR Diallo and Chris Greenwich. That's the reason I felt like we could sell him. Value between 500k and 1 million. We sold him for £6,000, but to be fair, picked him up on a free. That's not too bad for a player who did previously spend some time there on loan at AB when formerly at Norjaland, I believe is how you pronounce that name, down there at the bottom. So those are players that we have got rid of. So to be fair, not too much impact on our first team going into this new season. As you can see, just one change. Asana Diop these days is the new first choice left back with the departure of Xavier Smith, and Jack Honey goes back in as the second choice left back, but everywhere else exactly the same as it was last season. And yeah, it's pretty consistent to what we had in that National League Grand Final at the end of last year. Hopefully, can yet again go through and win most, if not all, of our games this year, and yet again pick up all 5 trophies on offer. But it's time to start off here with the group stages of the Champions League. This usually is pretty casual. We play the first game, fresh the team who we take on, and then just go forward and see who we do get in the quarters and the semis. As I said, as per usual, we are in Group A, actually away from home this time, but I do think we did a bus trip to the Lawson Tama Stadium. Let me know if I'm wrong. I'll make it up in future, because I'm pretty sure we'll get another chance to go there. Still got a fair few seasons left on this idea, say, before FM25 does come out. But Group A, actually probably one of our toughest groups we've had so far in a Champions League campaign. As WANEAGU, we have taken on before, and they've been half decent at times. We've played them at least once, I believe, in the knockouts. Suva are probably the whipping boys in this pool, having, I believe, not been in the Champions League that often out of Fiji. And Tafia, of course, a couple of years ago, they did beat Auckland City in a game in the group stage, which meant we had to take them on in the quarterfinals. So Tafia, definitely a team to keep an eye on in this group, and WANEAGU, a handy team based on past Champions League performance. So really, this does look like a little bit of a group of death, albeit in saying that we should be getting through fine. It's probably a big battle between Tafia and WANEAGU for that second spot. Down to Group B, this is made up of AS Dragon, Hengini Sport, Nadi, and Titikaveka. Going to Group C, this is where you'll find Western Suburbs. They're drawn alongside Lupe Olaswaga, Port Moresby, and Rao Kakamora. And down to Group D, and this is made up of Lossi Tafana, Arako GS, and Hikari United. So those are the teams in the group stages of the Champions League this season. And we start life off by travelling to the home stadium of WANEAGU. Hopefully can pick up a decent result. We've played them 3 times before, beat them each time. They're on the 1-star reputation. So hopefully we can do a decent job, especially as they're only the second best team in the Solomon Islands and behind the Henderson Eels. So hopefully can pick up a good win here, especially because their recent form hasn't been too great either. So hopefully nice comfy win here to show you guys why we should be topping this group. First choice 11, as you saw before, going into this game, using this as almost a bit of a pre-season tournament here to make sure the guys are fit for the start of the Southern League, and we'll come back and get stuck into the action in this first group game away at WANEAGU. And here are the team sheets for this one, just in case there's any WANEAGU fans out there who want to have a look at this team. Albeit, as I said a few times last season, I think we're at the point now where most teams do have mostly new gens, but they're also going with a 4-2-3-1. As I said, just one change to our best 11 from last year. Diop comes in for Xavier Smith, but hopefully good win here to start off our Champions League campaign. And just shy the 10-minute mark with the first highlight of this game, a free kick here in our favour. Billingsley takes it there short to Evans, then to Carly Johnson, who picks out young Harrison Debenham down the right-hand side, floats that one there for easy Ezra Zoomers. The Australian will pick up a goal. Nice headed effort there into the bottom left corner, and that is a good start here, near enough to bang on the 10-minute mark, and the Australian gives us a 1-0 lead. Hopefully we can keep hold of him long enough to potentially be a future optional for the All Whites. But as I've said a few times now, striker is quite a deep area, albeit that last international window we played, maybe someone like Ezra would be quite handy if we do get a few injuries up front. But a good start here, 1-0 Cashmere Tech. And we've played quite well for the next highlight in this game, just past the 20-minute mark here, and it is a corner to the home team, and they do us there at the near post. Nathan Evans will put that one past Sifuentes. Looks like there Ryan Billingsley might not have got to that ball before the local lad did, and 1-1 here. Bit of a scratchy start, usually put teams away quite comprehensively in the first half of games, and then slacken off a little bit. But to be fair, stats-wise, this game is actually concerningly even. And now a free kick, Evans gets in behind, squeeze that one for Chris Rangia, and we're losing to WANEAGU, and this was not part of the plan. This is a very sloppy start for us this season here at Cashmere Tech. Surely going to find a way back to win this game, but that's really soft. A free kick. We are playing a high defensive line, but even still, it's pretty sloppy. Quick fire double, and we're 2-1 down. Albeit, thankfully, only a few minutes off the back of that second goal, which WANEAGU did score. There's a throw-in for us here inside of the opposition half. Sam Clark makes his way in field. Ciardiello also cuts inside. Eventually, find the Debenham down the right-hand side. Khalid with a block shot, but thankfully, it falls to Ciardiello. It's an ugly as hit goal, pretty similar to the first one. A header into the bottom left corner, but thankfully not behind for too long here. It's 2-2, but still, this has been a pretty average display stats-wise. This is still a pretty even game, and I think, in fact, that WANEAGU might even be ahead in terms of XG, but thankfully not behind for long. Ciardiello makes it 2-2, albeit right off the back of that, there is a highlight from the kickoff. Hopefully not a swift reply here from the home team to get them back in front somehow. Surrey there does beat Debenham to that ball down that left-hand side. A chance there for them to put that one into the mixer, but thankfully that's an easy collect there for Cifuentes. Throws that one out there to Billingsley, and then Debenham starts to make his way forward down that right-hand side. Just takes his time before eventually finding Khalid. Takes on a shot there from a tight angle, but decent save there from the WANEAGU goalkeeper to keep it at 2-2. But hopefully had the wake-up call we might need now early stages of this season, and can put the foot down here off the back of that slow start with 10 minutes left in the first half. It's 2-2. And almost at half time, in a late highlight here in the first half, and is a throw-in to WANEAGU. They put that one near the far post. Thankfully, Cifuentes will come out and claim that, but really disappointed. We're not in front here this close to half time. Hopefully, it might change from the remainder of this highlights. Again, we try and do something down our right-hand side. Khalid plays that back to Evans and back forward to Khalid. Clearly our player of the year from last season. Debenham there, given a lot of space, just took some time there to hold his run and puts that one far post for Ciardiello. Also comes off the post, and Lorenzo Janssen, right place, right time to put that home. Those are now 2 goals. We've been pretty fortunate to score, so WANEAGU might feel a bit hard done by with those 2 that they have just conceded, but we'll take the luck, because honestly, we're not playing too well. Thankfully, still getting by here at the moment, but really poor first half from us. 3-2 it looks like might be the score going in to half time, but overall stats, this has actually been a pretty even game. I'm going to make a couple of subs here. Both Diop and Evans not going that well, and also sitting on yellow cards. We'll take them off. That means that Jack Honey, he'll come on at left back, and it will be Corona who will come on for Evans. But really, pretty average first half, so I think might get stuck into the boys here at half time and tell them not happy with that. Hopefully kick away a bit more in the second half, as we're only a goal in front.
Yeah.
And a pretty average first game of the season only gets worse for us here, because now Lorenzo Jansen's being forced from the field with an injury. Max Caputo will come on for him still. 3-2 in front, but no highlights so far. In the second half, we'll try and change that, put Khalid onto attack, but still only 1 goal in front. And we're just making into the last 15 minutes of this game. Still no highlights in the second half, which is really disappointing. There is a chance that WANEAGU could pinch a goal late and actually get a draw from this game, but to be fair, wouldn't even be pinching it, actually matching us quite well in this one. We're going to take off both our centre-backs here. They're going fairly for Victoros and Kanade. Also, you might just see if Victoros does do better as a ball-playing defender as we make our way late into that game. Those subs did cancel out a highlight, but shortly off the back of that, a corner here in our favour, and Honey will try and put this one into a sweet spot inside the box. Goes there far post, does get hit away. Sam Clark out there for Khalid, first time finish, and eventually he picks up a goal here, does our star man from last season, and thankfully that is the case, because that should, as commentary says, put the result beyond doubt, but that's taken us a long time compared to usual against a team a lot worse than we are here in the save. But really good finish, that one from Wally Khalid to give us a cushion goal and make it 4-2. And just about to make our way into injury time, there's going to be 5 minutes of it. Thankfully, I've pulled away a little bit here in the second half, but overall, that was a pretty average performance. Behind at one point there, 2-1. Thankfully, came back to pick up a 4-2 win, but stats-wise, WANEAGU, they could probably feel a bit harsh. They didn't get something from that game. 2 of our goals, those second 2 in the first half. Pretty fortunate with players being in the right spot at the right time. So I think I can actually lay into the guys here about that being a pretty poor performance, especially because that was our first team we put out for that game. That might make this group a bit interesting, especially because we've got Tawhia up next, a team who did beat Auckland City a few seasons ago. I might just record that game in case it's interesting, but otherwise we'll come back off the back of the rest of our Champions League group games. Just to confirm, we're going to finish top of the group because currently we're second because Tawhia have a better goal differential. And we are back, and we're not going to show you the rest of the games from the Champions League group because, as you can see on screen, we actually got our acting gear off the back of that really poor performance you just saw there against WANEAGU. We took on Tawhia. I thought this would be tough, especially because most first team players are a little bit tired, so I did go with a full rotation. In the end, it actually worked out perfectly. We beat them 7-0, so based on that, WANEAGU probably should be going through as the second team from this group, but a double there to Juan Carlos Castro Torrekna with a hat-trick, and the other goals were scored by Chris Greenidge and Tristan Turner. Chris Greenidge these days, our backup central attacking midfielder. De Hotman de Villiers comes in as the replacement somewhat for Lorenzo Janssen with that injury. But nice 7-0 win there, which pretty much guaranteed we'd be going through to the knockouts. And off the back of that, we took on Suva. Bit of a mix between first team and second team players for that game, just making sure that most of the tired boys did get a rest, and this was even more comprehensive. Suva did end up being the whipping boys of this group, and we beat them 9-0, 7-0 by half-time. The game was already over, but a hat-trick there to Khaled. De Hotman de Villiers with a double. Anderson got a goal. Castro with a hat-trick. It's a very comprehensive there. So 2 much better performances off the back of that struggle against WANEAGU, and it did mean that final match day game between WANEAGU and Tawhia. Crucial to see who would go through as the second team from this group. And as you can see there, it wasn't really much of a contest. WANEAGU picking up a very comfy win there, 4-0, 3-0 by half-time. So WANEAGU, they go through as the second team from this group. We end up on top. In the end, our goal differential actually quite strong, but WANEAGU really pushed us in that first game. They could be a sneaky team for someone to get in the quarterfinals when we do get onto that shortly. Group B, that was won by AS Dragon, albeit with only 5 points, the same amount of points as Hengini Sport, Titikavika and Nadi, not too far behind. So Group B was quite a tight one. Group C, as you'd expect, Western Suburbs did pick this one up, and to be fair, all 3 of their wins were relatively comfortable. I say that. They were also a bit sloppy in their first game, just the scoreline there of 3-1 over Raul Kakamora, and off the back of that, just like us, did a bit better in their next couple. 5-0 win over Lupe Olaswaga, backed up with an 8-0 win over Port Moresby. So to be fair, quite similar to how we did it in our group there. From our New Zealand competition, Raul Kakamora did finish second with a slightly better goal differential than Lupe Olaswaga. And Group D, that was won by Hikari United with 7 points. Iroquois go for in second. AS Lossi and Tafana, they do get knocked out. So those are the teams that have gone through to the quarterfinal draw. We can draw either Iroquois or Vanuatu. Raul Kakamora, who did push Western Suburbs quite close in that opening group stage game. That could be quite interesting. That might not be the easiest test, but hopefully now we're a bit better than we were in our first game. And of course, we could also get Hengini Sport from Group B. So let's get stuck in here to the draw for the quarterfinals and see what our road to the final is. Hopefully, might get Western Suburbs in the semis instead of the final. Still prefer that, playing a New Zealand team over 2 legs instead of just one. First up, AS Dragon. They'll get Iroquois. Next up, Western Suburbs. They get WANEAGU. Hopefully they do us a favour, because WANEAGU certainly could give them something to think about based on their performance in our group. Next up, Hikari United. They will get Hengine Sport. So we'll take on Raul Kakamora, who are the team that did push Western Suburbs quite close. So based on that, might be set up for that semi-final that I am hoping for. Let's find out as we do the draw for that stage. We are first up, and we will take on Western Suburbs or WANEAGU. That looks like a really strong side of the draw. And the other side, it will be Hikari or Hengine taking on AS Dragon or Iroquois. So quietly, quite happy with that draw do prefer to play the New Zealand team over 2 legs just in case they upset us in one of those. But the quarterfinal as well could be quite interesting, as both Raul Kakamora and WANEAGU did test the New Zealand teams in their group. To be fair though, once we get past that stage, the final could be a bit easier. But there's our path to the final in the Champions League this season. We'll come back tomorrow and get stuck into the quarter. Just check when the date is for that. It's the 6th of April, so actually, before then, we have an international window with the All Whites, so maybe we come back for that instead. I did actually think that quarterfinal would be taking place a lot sooner. That is not the case. So let me just look here at what the schedule is with the All Whites and who we're playing. Senegal and Switzerland. What we could do is play the second of those games on camera, just because we played Senegal last window, actually with a better team in that game, but it was a goalless draw. Hopefully with George McDonald back this time, we can actually score some goals and put them away. But Switzerland, not too far above Senegal on the world rankings, but from Europe, that could be an interesting one before we get stuck in to the first leg of that quarterfinal. But that will do it for today's episode. Made our way through the group stage of the Champions League, albeit a bit scratchy in that game you did see. Also ran through some players who left, and our path to the final has been revealed. If you enjoyed that episode, then do remember to go down below, leave a thumbs up on the video, and if you haven't done so already and are enjoying the series here on the channel, also consider hitting that subscribe button and turning that notification bell on as well. As I said, until tomorrow for a bit of a mix of All Whites and Cashmere action. We'll take on Switzerland and hopefully pick up a good result against Raul Kakamora in that first leg, so we can just skip forward and show you the score from the second leg of that Champions League quarterfinal. Until then, thank you very much for watching. Keep on keeping on, and I'll see you then. Cheers.